Right. There we go. Top of the morning, top of the evening, top of the night, whatever time zone you are on, we are live. Oh, let me break the volume down. Remember, if you can look up, you can get up. If you can get up, you can go up. All right. Just closing screens in the background as they are non-essential. Okay. So, moment of silence for those who have just lost loved ones during this pandemic. Next door neighbor, one of my next door neighbors is gone. So, moment of silence for anyone who has been sheltering in place and losing loved ones. Let's do that right now. Okay. Hello to all of regular supporters, bypassers, bushes. What's up? And the like. Get this disclaimer out the way. You see the title. Straighten this out a little bit over here. So, excuse me for throwing stuff around in the background. I need to break myself from doing that. So let's get off into this. Rich people doing what they do during the pandemic. The Grim Reaper coming for protesters. And I'm not talking about the attorney who was dressed up as the Grim Reaper on Florida beach. I'm talking about the real Grim Reaper, SARS 2. Suing the US government. And let's get to the good stuff though. The earth is healing itself. So the shelter in place is doing what mankind refused to do, which was let the earth rest every 3 to 7 years. Yeah, the shelter in place is causing the earth to heal itself quickly. So, cleaner waters, ozone, the hole that was in an ozone layer closed. My skin looking better from all, not so much pollution in the atmosphere. The ultraviolet light rays that causes cancer in the atmosphere. That hole in the ozone layer healed itself, it closed up underneath the Earth's surface. Geology, the ocean is starting to heal itself too. So because we can be some selfish humans, cavalier, nonchalant, non-caring for the earth, the shelter in place is proving that the earth is healing itself. While we've been sheltered in place, some of us at least have been sheltering in place. The decrease in what gases, pollutants, and toxins in the air and in the ocean, in the atmosphere. That's the good news about this. You don't have to contend with all of the pollutions, the pollutants, and the toxins. And I'm sure, if this lasted a little while longer, the ground, the dirt, the depleted soil over here in the United States of America would replenish itself too. Because I'm all for that. But let's get to this music. Let me get to this music and we're gonna get started. Oh, wait a minute. can get to the music, but I don't have the music pulled up in the background. Again, let me do my disclaimer. In accordance to the Copyright Act of the United States of America, Sections 106, 106A, 107, and the others, fair use. I have a right to use the videos, pictures, reportings, music, and the like for new discoveries, research, teachings, as well as discoveries, new information, and the like, as this information is now a matter of public records. That being said, let's give us some music and I will get off into this. Again, hello everybody. We're gonna do the good, the bad, and the ugly of these sections, but let me get to the music first. So shock our endorphins up to a happy state.
Listen, baby, ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough, baby.
If you need me, call me, no matter where you are, no matter how far.
Don't worry, baby.
Just call my name, I'll be there in a hurry. You don't have to worry, 'cause baby, there ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough
To keep me from getting to you, baby. Remember the day I set you free. I told you you could always count on me, darling. From that day on,
Hey, Andrea.
I made a vow I'll be there when you want me, some way, somehow. Oh, baby, there ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough to keep me from getting to you, baby. Oh, no, darling.
No wind, no rain, or winter's cold can stop me, baby.
No, no, baby.
'Cause you are
If
my
you're ever in
love.
trouble, I'll be there on the double. Just send for me, oh, baby.
My love is alive.
But don't be
down
a
in my
mile apart.
heart, although we are miles apart.
If you ever need a helping hand, I'll be there on the double just as fast as I can. And don't you know that there ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough.
Keep me from getting to you, babe. Don't you know that there
Ain't no mountain high enough, ain't no valley low enough, ain't no river wide enough, ain't no mountain high enough.
I have some videos queued up in the background. And hello, Andrea Harris. How are you? My last name's sake. How are you? Okay, let's get to the good part about the sheltering in place. The fact that the ozone layer is healing itself, so people on Earth wouldn't be exposed to such things that comes from a higher dimension than where we reside. Okay, because what we do here impacts the entire Earth. We unfortunately can be selfish human beings and just want to overutilize everything and not let the earth, the land heal itself like we're supposed to, because people are just so bent on being extremely greedy to the degree that it's careless and they don't care. Now, once we found out years ago that we were impacting ozone layers, the Earth's surface underneath ground and other things, we should have been a bit more cautious, but we just continue to do so. But let me get to the video. Right, you said we are family. Let me get to the video. The ozone, the good about this is that the ozone is healing itself. And certain people are trying to take credit for this because of laws that they put in place. Y'all can take the credit for this. Let me do the share on this. Again, all links to the description will be in the bottom below. The largest hole in the ozone layer above the Arctic has apparently closed. The news was recently shared by the EU's Earth Monitoring Program, AMRRA. Why is that good news? So people won't kill themselves down here because of the radiation. The sun's ultraviolet radiation is absorbed. It absorbs it. The ozone layer absorbs 97 to 99% of the sun's medium frequency ultraviolet light. The lack of influence exposed light forms to the rays that causes skin cancer. The rays is one of the major causes of skin cancer, redness, and high skin in some people live. But now the largest ever hole, the Arctic region has healed itself. Amazing. 1,000,000 square kilometers. Wow. That's the same way over the populated area. Yeah. Now they say it has nothing to do with COVID-19 or the nationwide lockdown, but I beg to differ. Polar vector. The polar air surrounds the Earth in the pole. In 1987 is attempting to take credit, as well as them alluding to the polar vector. Frigid air, like I said, in Michigan, we get that where we're can be negative 35 below freezing weather. But I want them to know this. If you want the credit for the ozone layer healing itself, it would have had to heal itself prior to the pandemic, right? And so, to me, all of these pollutants and toxins not getting or being transmitted throughout the atmosphere, let me watch my word here, not being transmitted throughout the atmosphere, not being allowed to be in the atmosphere, you cannot negate the fact that that did not help the ozone layer heal itself quicker. Now, was it in a healing process? Yes. How long has it been in that healing process? For a long time. Now we shelter in place, and what happens? Bam, there it is, underneath the Earth's surface too. The ocean is healing itself. Well, Imagine that. We don't all have all the pollutions and the fracking and the drilling that's drilling for oil and trying to drill for resources going on. We don't have all the motorboats in the oceans. You see dolphins running around, swimming again, little starfish can be seen, the water's clean. Imagine that. So for people who are trying Montreal, you can't take the credit for healing the ozone. Stop it. Stop it. I don't care what y'all put in place. And I do care because it cut green gas initiatives, okay? It helped to cut pollutions out of the air, but one nation, you can't take the credit for healing the ozone layer when it's an entire world involved. You can't take the credit for that. That's okay. Let's get to the other good news. California, cleaner air in California. Clean air in California. The other day in the video when I talked about the arrogance of, oh wait a minute, I'm skipping this commercial. The arrogance in which I said Americans and people have to try to take credit for something like that. That is some type of arrogance we have as human beings that we need to rid ourselves of. Okay, let me get past what she's talking about. Climatologist. All right, let me pause right there. Now we're ready to go into the video. So the green gas emissions being eliminated from the atmosphere, not only that being eliminated from the atmosphere, you have to think about the other toxins and pollutants that have been eliminated from the atmosphere. Like I said, my skin is clearer, because when I am going out, I don't have to contend with as many pollutants in the atmosphere as I would have had to before, and that does impact the quality of your life as well as your skin, as well as your breathing conditions, as well as everything else. I see some results, so I approve of that. I approve of the results. I approve of this message. All right. The other good news. Clean air.
This is the new normal for runners in the time of coronavirus. What isn't normal, especially here in Los Angeles, is this: blue skies and clean air.
Once the shelter in place went in California, what did you see?
We saw that LA had some of the cleanest air quality in the world.
Have you ever seen it this clear up here before?
No.
Glory Dolphin-Hammis is CEO of IQ Air, a tech company that tracks global air quality. 2 weeks ago, her sensors showed something almost unimaginable. LA had the cleanest air of any major city on Earth.
About a year ago, Los Angeles was ranked the worst air quality in the entire country. And now we're seeing some of the best air quality, not just in the country, but in the world.
Wide open.
By some estimates, the pandemic lockdown has taken about 80% of passenger cars off local roads. IQ Air's data shows a resulting 31% reduction in air pollution compared to the same time frame last year. And it's not just Los Angeles. From a shockingly smog-free New Delhi in India to unusually clear waters in the canals of Venice, the world is suddenly learning what can happen if humans stop polluting the environment.
But if things go back to normal, a week from now, that'll be a distant memory. The air will be just like it would have been.
Stanford environmental scientist Rob Jackson says there's historic precedent for that. Global greenhouse gas emissions dropped about 1.5% during the 2008 economic crisis. But within 2 years, they bounced back and kept growing. He fears the same thing could happen again.
What if, when the economy's hurting, we no longer care or care to safeguard the environment?
The Senate will come to order.
Although there are signs that's already happening in Washington, Jackson is optimistic about the number of people and companies learning how to telecommute.
If we drive less, it will save time and make things healthier. It doesn't have to be shelter in home or clean air. It can be clean air every day.
In the meantime, while some crucial climate field science in places like Greenland is being disrupted, the unprecedented shutdown of major cities is also proving to be a boon for other science as well.
It has allowed us to really look at certain
This
scenarios.
is not new news.
Gabby Pfister is a climate scientist now studying our environment in conditions no one ever thought would occur.
Assume all passenger cars are taken off the roads. What would happen to our climate and our air quality? I mean, this is typically something we can only test in our numerical models, but then we don't have observations. Well, now we do.
Armed with this new data, scientists hope when we do return to our pre-pandemic lifestyles, we'll do so with lessons learned during the crisis.
It has shown us that there are ways that we can make a significant change in the human footprint on our atmosphere and our nature.
For CBS This Morning, Jamie Yukas, Los Angeles.
That's good news. The Earth healing itself. I don't know what the other scientist was talking about from the foreign country. That's not new news to us that if we decrease air pollution, the quality of good air will increase. That's not new. This is not new, okay? If they're talking about in terms of things being more measurable now and comparing and contrasting, that's different, but this is not new. We learned as kids, I learned as a kid, you're really supposed to let the earth rest every 3 to 7 years so it can heal itself quicker. So that's not, I learned as a child. So the one scientist, I'm not 100% sure what she's talking about. And yes, I was one of those people who did have biology, chemistry, geology, geography, physics, and the like. I like science. My forensic degrees, digital degrees, that's science. My arts degrees come in business and education. Other stuff is science. So that's the good stuff. That's the good stuff. Okay, no worry. I'm gonna get to the Grim Reaper coming for protesters, but we get to some more good news. I've actually, since this happened, I've been doing videos again, and so since my state like to be the state of first, before I hit us with the bad and the super ugly news, my state was also the first state to have Black-owned radio. I mean, not radio, Black-owned television station. So on Instagram, from Instagram, I did a nice little video of something, the positives about Michigan. And I did the negatives too. Protesters out there running around with guns and different things like that, don't want to shelter in place, being careless, ruthless, reckless, Russian roulette with SARS-2. SARS-2 don't care. SARS-2 is the Grim Reaper in its own protester's head. It can care nothing about your right to not stay at home or shelter in place temporarily. SARS-2 don't care nothing about none of that. Don't care about none of that. So, but other good news, opportunity to, so let me go back in and pull some good stuff about the state. Illinois, no disrespect. No disrespect. Y'all already know what it is. Uh-oh. There it goes. Oh. All right. Let me pause this video in the background. Oh, that's the wrong video. Ooh. Definitely not that one. That is loud. Sorry for the clicks in the background. But yeah, I had to pull some positives out about Michigan, like Kellogg's cereal that was created here. We know air pollution came from here. Auto manufacturers came from here. But I wanted to get to the positive things that came from here too. The fact that Motown music, that's Michigan. Kellogg cereal, Kalamazoo, Michigan, that's Michigan. Dances, some refer to them as break dances. We call it the jit, forms of the jit, those dances, that came from here. We had other good things that came from Michigan other than athletes, as everybody else states have athletes. No disrespect to the athletes, runners, whatever. But just other good things that came from here. Larry Page, everybody's using Google right now. He was born from here, helped revolutionize the world in terms of search engines and the world's data came from here. But let me do the share on this. The first Black-owned television station in 1995, East Jefferson, downtown Detroit, was here, Michigan. Senator or Congressman John Conyers, the longest African-American to be in Congress, from here, Michigan, Detroit, Michigan. The one who founded the Black Caucus, here, Michigan. So I had to, before I get off into the bad and the ugly about this COVID-19 pandemic in different states, I have to pull the positive out. I have to pull some positives for the state here, because there's been some foolishness going on. Let me do this share on this. Okay, here's a little video I put together for my Instagram.
Oh, very pleasant. Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of The Scene. I'm Ray Henderson. I'm Nat Morrison. Hey, we got an hour of nothing but goody for you.
Ray Henderson, a radio announcer, came up with the idea of a dance show for Detroit. The show caught on and didn't let go for years to come. Fast Freddy was one of the scene's most recognized faces.
Well, they should be like putting the thing on my feet when they come up. That was my little, this was my little dance, you know. I was doing the same thing. Then I would take the coat off. And then, you know, flip it over my shoulder and catch it. Just keep on dancing.
Legit. A lot of people do a lot of break dancing. Not trying to be funny. Pay attention. Love y'all. Pay attention. This originates from here. This is called Gaye. Illinois, I know y'all got the juice. No shade. Pay attention. $80,000 shit.
Press 1, 2, 3, 4. Press 1, 2.
Rockin' live at Applebee's in the parking lot. What time you G? She rockin' live. Do a T. We rockin' live. We rockin' live. She rockin' live. She rockin' live.
Illinois, pay attention. Pay attention, groundwork, all that shit. Younger hair. Come on with that jet. Show them how to do it. Mission. Let's go. All that body jet. Walk it out now. There you go. All that shit. Just thought you should know that a lot of the dances that were revolutionized throughout the world came from Michigan too. And so while we get to all of the nonsensical things that are going on here, people have a right to protest. But like I said, this is a pandemic, and I'm gonna hit. Y'all know I have to come this way, and then I have to roll on the wealthy people's heads. Not some of them, because Warren Buffett said, make the wealthy people pay their taxes. That's what he's been saying. During this pandemic, we need to pay our taxes. So I appreciate him for always being the one who would say, we can afford to pay no taxes. The 1% of us should be paying more taxes. Clap, clap. But it's the good, the bad, and ugly. So all of this is the good stuff that comes from Michigan and other states too. Other states had their good news too, and good things that came from their states, in spite of people running around cutting up. Now I gotta go to the cut ups. All right, go to the cut ups. Okay. I'm gonna do that. All right. We go back into this. California. I'm gonna start with you all. Grim Reaper coming for you. Okay, to me it makes absolute no sense to be out there protesting and then talking about you know people with COVID-19, you got COVID-19, and still be out there protesting. Shelter in place. Grim Reaper, SARS too. Don't care nothing about you not sheltering in place. The Grim Reaper's coming for you, protesters. It didn't came from y'all, for a lot of y'all, for many of you all. And you still out there running around. Grim Reaper. Knock, knock. What's your name? The Grim Reaper. What's your code name? SARS 2. Who you're here for? Everybody. The Grim Reaper is on people's heads. COVID-19, aka SARS 2, is on people's heads. I don't care nothing about you wanting to protest and not shelter at home. And technically, I'll say, as I mentioned before, sign medical waivers and do what you do. Now let's get to the bad and the super ugly. Here we go. Protesting in and of itself is not the overground. It's some of the theories behind the protest. And the comparison and contrasting this with slavery. Slavery was 460 plus years. That's different. This is not.
your family right now?
Well, I don't really visit my family because some of them are sick, and my elderly mother isn't in this country, so I don't visit her yet.
Sick from SARS too. The Grim Reaper that showed up in your family member's home. Matter of fact, you haven't even been tested. You may have SARS to yourself, aka COVID-19. COVID-19, aka SARS-2, the Grim Reaper is coming for you and your family members, and you still out there protesting. My question becomes, are your family members going to waive their rights to seek medical attention, or do they not agree with you being out there protesting and you still don't care because everybody's running around talking about the economy back. Excuse me, don't let the wealthy people, the wealthy 1% that always run game on the US, run game on you during this pandemic, like they've been running game, and we're gonna get to that game that they've been doing, that they always do, that's been benefiting them. But let her finish.
But I can't travel to go see her, so I'm locked down here. I can't go visit her. Visiting friends is limited because our churches, my Bible study group, we can't go when we can't meet. Our churches are on live streamed online, and so we miss the connection. We miss the human bonding, and our soul to soul are being connected. So we really need to get back to society and our churches and our restaurants, our businesses, so that we can get America generated back into what it is, which is a great, great country. And so we'd really like to get back to work. It's all that we want. And we need to open up commerce. We need to open up our economy. We need to get people working
Go
again.
volunteer. Go volunteer at the meat market.
USA! 80% of us are negative. COVID-19, go get tested once so that you protect others. Strangers are infecting strangers. Strangers are infecting strangers. 90% of us, 19 negative. 90. We have to get back to work, but we all have to be tested. Tell everyone at your job to come back tested COVID-19 and the doors will open.
To me, I see it as also a slippery slope.
They don't, by the way,
whatever they want to say, and all of a sudden,
allegedly.
In 08, when the economy completely tanked, I lost my restaurant, lost a lawsuit. It was bad. It was hard. I was homeless at one point, so I really feel for these business owners as well, where who's saying non-essential and essential? You can't work in a restaurant or a fast food restaurant and stay 6 feet apart. When you go into a grocery store, I do Instacart, so I have to feel the avocados. I have to feel the tomatoes to make sure they're ripe and not too hard, not too soft. So there's bigger risk of somebody grabbing and touching that and then coming and touching and coming touching. But those are okay, but other businesses and their livelihood is dying. They're more likely to catch it there than anywhere else because it's by touch. It's not airborne. This disease is not airborne. By touching everything, grabbing the boxes, putting it on the shelf. How many times was that box that is now on that shelf was touched before you put it in your hands? And then you put it in your hands, you touch your mask, you move your mask, you'll get infected. So I don't see where this is going. When next time? I didn't get any stimulus money. I live a low. I have a low base. I don't live extravagant, so I'm able to pay my bills and do that. But I hustle. I have to hustle. I'm doing DoorDash and DoorDash and Instacart. I'm very, very thankful. It's been very good. It's not replaced my income, but at least it allows me not. But people that aren't doing it, that don't have anything, what are we going to have? A rise in homelessness? We already have a homelessness issue. And then what happens when you're depressed? Because when I lost my restaurant, or I couldn't pay my bills, and I was in a lawsuit, you know how depressed I was? My marriage stayed together because I have a strong faith in Jesus Christ. But what's going to happen to people? Are we going to see that outcome later down the road? Because even when we open up this economy, we're not going to get back. And those restaurants and those salons that are knee deep, are they going to be able to survive? Where are they going to be? So their lives don't matter. And what happens when people can't pay the bills? We know the #1 cause of divorce is financial.
Can I ask how your family's holding together?
Oh, my family's fine because we're strong. We have a strong faith. We're very close. My kids are grown, so I don't have, they're all out of high school. So I'm very blessed to have that. My daughter graduated last year. My youngest one. So we're fine because, like I said, we're hustling. My wife works at Trader Joe's, so she's busy, but so her life doesn't matter. So she can deal with everybody every single day, all the time. Angry, pissed off. Some people are very excited. Some people are happy, but she can be exposed and touch all their stuff. That's okay for her, but not the person that owns a salon that can cover her mask and cut their hair. What about the salon owner? What about the gardeners? What about all these other people? What about the restaurant owners that put their life savings into it? It's now getting flushed down the drain. So their lives don't matter. It has to be a balance, people. It has to be. The numbers aren't showing that.
We didn't say their lives didn't matter. We said their lives does matter. That's why we don't want them open. Now, the misinformation, people saying it's not airborne. Yeah, if you are in the atmosphere with somebody, droplets, breathing, talking, you can get it. That's airborne. That's what airborne is. It's communicatable through the air. You get it in the same atmosphere as another person who has it. That's airborne. You don't have to touch them to get it. All they have to do is talk and breathe on you. You got it. That's airborne. Droplets, getting in your eyes. That's airborne. So it's miscommunication going on out there. The other part I want this gentleman to know is this. Amazon and the rest of them, they've been out there protesting. They've been protesting. Yeah. So your wife should be out there protesting with others. Yeah. Why you saying it's not fair? Wanting them to get pandemic wage increase benefits because they are out there on the front line. And they come out and they are fighting for these businesses to be open, but in the background, the 1%, and I said I would get there right after I finished this last video on my state, 1% been profiting. Now I'm gonna talk about some lawsuits too, suing the US government. Some governors and some states need to be sued because they have not protected your life. Like as it's written in the Constitution, the U.S. government needs to be sued for the loss of casualties in life during this pandemic. Those are the type of lawsuits that need to be going on. But the word of disconnect, as I've been saying in some of the previous lives, one world doing this, another world doing that. Let me get to my state, because the other day I said they were inside the Capitol building with guns. Now let me prove it. And I said, let the reparations group start showing up with guns and let us start saying reparations or else. Packing. And let's see if we get the same response and reaction. No, I got some reality. Disclaimer. If your child is watching this, if your child is listening to this, an earshot of this, graphic and strong language is being used. My state, the one who kicked off the protest. That's why I showed the good before I get to the bad and the super ugly. Here we go. For a minute, because him right here, the gray haired African-American gentleman, has always been extremely rude and curt. Every time I have and I have been to the Capitol many times, but during our protest, he has always been, and keep in mind, all of these are armed officers, all of them packing. Everybody you see in red suit jackets, they strapped up, okay? They strapped. This police. State, if I'm not mistaken. These are state boys, if I'm not mistaken. State men, state women, because there's females in there too. But this one right here, Always been extremely rude and curt. But let me let the video play because I said I wanted to show Michigan protesters up in there inside the Capitol with guns, and I said let the reparation groups start showing up to Washington D.C. and other Capitol buildings with guns, saying reparations or else. It's our constitutional right to protest. It's our constitutional right to bear arms. It's also our constitutional right to assemble and everything else and make our claims and let our voice be heard and to get treated like first-class citizens here in the United States of America and get what America promised our ancestors and family members. But I'm gonna let it play. Michigan, packing. The super ugly and the bad about the COVID-19 protest. In the Capitol. Okay, let me pause right here. See this right here? This is a semi-automatic weapon, and he got rounds and clips, as well as others in the crowd with rounds and clips inside the Capitol building. By the way, they are already inside the Capitol building, on the inside. Don't you see them going up the stairway? You inside the Capitol. Right on the other side of where they are is the Rotunda Hall, the glass with the glass floor that you can see bottom of that. They right next to that. Okay, they are all the way in the Capitol, all the way on the inside. So the screaming and the hollering, let us in. I guess they want to get to the other side where the governor's office is at. But I'm gonna pause for a minute again. Now, people can say what they want to say and call it dramatic if you want to, but like I said, let us start showing up. Let the groups that I protest with start showing up strapped like that. We're not even gonna make it in the building. I'm gonna let it finish, and I know we're not gonna make it in the building. And the African-American gentleman I showed you, who I said was always super rude, Kirk, every time we come up to the protest, we don't even be strapped up, and we experience a level of condescendingness and rudeness that is unnecessary. But I don't see him saying too much to these people standing out there. Maybe he did, it's just not on this video footage. Let me let the video play and roll. See, I'm not for the biasness and the preferential treatment of any group. If we're gonna be fair and even kiltered, we're gonna be fair and even kiltered straight across the board. And if this group want to show up protest packing inside Capitol buildings, I got a whole nother group, other groups who want to show up protesting and packing inside Capitol buildings too. Now we're gonna be fair, let's be fair. Let's not play with it. But this is the good, the bad, and the ugly about the pandemic. This right here to me goes in the super ugly category. Let me let him finish. And a disclaimer again, every last one of them would have to sign a medical waiver for me. You want to be out there, fine, good and dandy. But know this, as it relates to SARS too, because you don't want to shelter in place, some got on masks in the crowd, and my question to them becomes, what are you out there protesting for if you're going to show up in a mask? But for the ones that don't have it on, that's out there packing, strapped,
Heil Hitler! Heil Hitler! The winner! The winner! The winner! And you're a tyrannous tyrant! Do you vote?
Two different people. Did he just call Whitmore Hitler? The same Hitler who murdered a bunch of Jews in a gas chamber using a biological chemical to kill them all in chambers. The false comparisons are outlandish. She trying to tell you to stay at home so you don't kill yourself, or the Grim Reaper don't snatch the oxygen out your lungs and take the air from your breath. World's a disconnect. Grim Reaper don't care about y'all. These gentlemen right here, up here, they packing. They got guns too. Okay. And like I said, they're all the way inside the Michigan Capitol building, strapped up, right? Right here, next to these group of people is what we call the Rotunda Hall. My question becomes is, how did they get all the way up inside our Michigan Capitol, strapped up with those semi-automatic weapons with a bunch of clips? But like I said, if this is what y'all want to do when allowing Michigan and allowing other states, I got a whole group of people that'll start showing up strapped up with some semi-automatic weapons, just like y'all got, plus some, with some bulletproof vest on, and protesting and making our demands too. If this is the way we gonna do it, let's not, just the way, if this is the way it's gonna rock and lay down, then let it rock and lay down all the way around for everybody. And I guarantee you, we gonna end up, the police probably gonna try to accost us, arrest us, and throw us. As a matter of fact, they ain't gonna even let us up in. The snipers that meet you at the door. Where are the snipers that meet us at the Capitol building door every time? Snipers. I've been met at the Michigan Capitol with full-fledged snipers at the door doing a shakedown before we could get in. You think I don't know what sniper gear looks like? The snipers who gonna be on top of the building. I'm still trying to figure out how they got all the way up there, because in the Capitol, Michigan, right to carry, open carry, people are pontificating, going back and forth now. Oh, you can be at a certain part of the Capitol, with your arms, with your guns. Really? Okay. So I will be keeping this video as evidence, as always. So when I show up, I just want this video reflecting off the walls. Don't try to stop me if I show up strapped up to a protest with some clips, with a bunch of rounds. No, we're gonna be fair. We're gonna be fair across the board. This is the ugly part about the COVID-19. Good, the bad, the ugly. The Grim Reaper, protesters, y'all family members got COVID-19. Some of y'all probably in the crowd got SARS too. Don't care nothing about y'all. Let it finish.
Cowards! You betrayed us! Traitors! That betrayed the people! You worked for so many years! You enjoyed the people's rights being taken from them?
Thought you were getting respectable positions and realized nobody respects you. Nobody respects anything.
Tyranny!
You guys are not first responders.
Is this what you want?
executive order, we want to give you the right to voice your First Amendment rights, freedom of speech, and we please just beg you to keep, if you guys keep doing what you're doing, we're all Our goal is to continue what you're doing right now to not enforce.
That's my state, Michigan. Like I said, inside the Capitol building, and the gentleman that's up there, what level is that they're on, that's strapped up with rounds and clips and semi-automatic weapons inside Capitol building in Michigan. Let me count up, because the group that the floor that they're on right now is they're on the third level. Third or second level. Yeah, they're on the third or second level. So you keep going up and up and up. I want to know, how did they get all the way up there? Who allowed them to be all the way up there strapped up like that? With rounds and clips inside of Capitol building in Michigan. But them same ones in them red jackets who aren't state boys, we've shown up to protest. Now, this is my little rant, and then I'm gonna move on to these wealthy people. We've shown up several times, not packing or strapped, with them all in our faces. We weren't in their faces. Like you see these protesters in their faces. No, we were not in their faces. They were in our faces. They approached us and got in our faces. Okay, got in our faces. All right. We didn't have no clips. We didn't have no rounds. But I tell you this, and hear me good, Michigan, we're not gonna have no respect as a persons and two set of laws that's gonna work for one and not work for the other. That don't work with me, for me, and never have and never will. Okay? If they gonna advocate and protest for their rights and be able to bear their arms as it is their constitutional rights and be inside the Capitol strapped up, semi-automatic, rounds and clips, guess what? Well, then it's another group. Yeah, we need to start showing up. And it can happen just like that. Don't get confused about the state. Just a couple of phone calls away, and we'll start showing up, strapped up, with rounds and clips every time we protest. And let's see if we're going to get the same decorum and level of respect that they got, or are we going to be met with hostility, or what those snipers going to do? That was there when I was there at one time, shaking everybody down, basically. On their way up to the top of the building. All right, let me get to the wealthy people. Let me get to the wealthy people. I'm gonna keep that video forever in my archives and in my clips as grounds for me showing up inside the Capitol in this state, packing with some rounds and clips, the backpack. And I want those same state officers to be just as cordial and as nice and have as much decorum with me as you're having with them. But I'm not gonna be in your face yelling. And I don't want, oh, when I go back up to the Capitol to protest, I'm gonna pull it back. This video is going to stay in my phone. I'm going to pull it back. I have to show you all yourselves. So future references in this state, state officers, do not ever jump in my face again when I show up to protest at the Capitol building, unarmed, unstrapped. Don't ever, don't you ever, don't ever do that again. Not after seeing this. Oh, no. We're not gonna have no bias. Tale of two different worlds, because what will happen is I will be the one to file a lawsuit. No more times. That day is over. State officers in the Capitol, day of coming up in my face, day is over. That day is over. Jump in my face, lawsuit. I'm gonna get you for discriminating. Because I don't see you jumping in their face, but I sure see them yelling and screaming and hollering in y'all faces. That day is over, done. Let me get on to these wealthy people and how they running game. That day is over. That day is done. That day is done in this state. And people like, oh, here she go, because I have been inside the Capitol protesting too many times, exercising my constitutional rights to assemble and protest, and have been met with great hostility, unarmed, with no clips and no rounds. You got just all in your face. And you have scheduled meetings. It's still all in my face with scheduled meetings. I'll say it again for the people who don't get it. I have had scheduled meetings with state officers all in my face in this state. And y'all gonna let this go down like that? Never. No, never. That's why I will always keep that video. Always, always. We're not gonna have a set of rules for one group and then a set of standards and rules for another group. We're not doing that. We're not gonna do that. You want to talk about justice? You want to talk about freedom? If we're gonna be free, we all gonna be free to carry it in. If we're gonna be free, we all gonna be free to carry inside the Capitol with rounds and clips and protests. Not just one selective group. We're not doing that. It ain't gonna just be a privilege that one group get to utilize. That's the ugly part about this COVID-19 pandemic. That's the ugly part. Better not touch nobody. Better not touch nobody in our group. Don't say nothing to nobody in our group. Don't say nothing to nobody in our groups. And the thing about our groups is it's a mixture of people and different ethnicities, ethnic groups. It's not just one. It's African American, white American, Latinos, Mexicans, Asians, Muslims. We have mixed groups. Let's see how y'all do when the mixed groups start showing up packing. And protest. All right. Again, disclaimer, I'm not advocating for violence, but what I am advocating for and will always advocate for is justice and equal rights for everybody across the board. I'm not with this. One group get treated like the cream de la creme. Yelling, screaming, and hollering at officers. Them same officers who have jumped in my face with scheduled meetings. Silent now. With a group of protesters packing. Backpacks on, nothing but rounds in them. Anyway, this is what the people been doing. Rich Americans seize historic chance to pass wealth tax-free. They've been moving their money. The game that they play, that they've done for years. I had an attorney on last year, and she's an estate attorney now. She was a criminal defense attorney, but now she does estate taxes, okay? So this is what the wealthy people have been doing. Low record, the required rate on typical trust strategies dropped to 0.8% in May. Section 7520, interest rates, Section 7520. This is what wealthy people have been doing. Okay, the interest rate went down, basically nothing for them to start transferring monies and gifting monies to predecessors, not predecessors, but to their family members or heirs or heir parents freely, which is really them playing a game and putting money into themselves for themselves and then using it in another fashion. That's the game they play. But this is what they've been doing. Okay, rich Americans are taking advantage of an unprecedented opportunity. Yeah, for them. Yeah, yeah. But I'm not surprised because they do it on the regular day. Now they really gonna do it. Made possible by the coronavirus pandemic to transfer money to their children and grandchildren tax-free. Oh, goody. The transferring of money to children and grandchildren that they turn around, use and invest. And but like I said, that's a game. That's a game. Oh, that's a game. Let me bring myself back down from seeing those protesters packing inside of the Michigan building, strapped up with semi-automatic weapons. All right. Thanks to the 2017 Republican tax overhaul, it was already easier than ever to avoid the U.S. estate and gift tax, a 40% levy on the biggest fortunes. Okay, they cut that. They cut that. So when they came out and said we cutting taxes and we doing stuff for the American people, hogwash, mess. Now plunging interest rates and volatile equity. Our phone is kind of ringing off the hook, said Jonathan Maxman, managing partner of Nucleus Advisors. There really hasn't been a better time to plan. They do this all the time, so they don't have to pay taxes. This is not new game that the wealth participating in. This is old game. But this is what they do. While everybody else running around telling them we want to go back to work. The wealthy is doing what they love to do best, not pay taxes. Moving money around, playing a game. So they can invest the way they want to invest and still not pay taxes. Why some people are so gung-ho to go run back out there to work and work for free, basically. Some basically, if you're getting $7.50 an hour, that ain't no money in terms of inflation, the cost of living over here in the United States of America. Interest rates set by the Internal Revenue Service for estate planning purposes have never been as low as they are starting this month. But then I saw Forbes, was it Forbes? Excuse me, and I'm gonna finish reading this. Was it Forbes that did an article on the Congress people who were benefiting from the break that the student loan holders have been given during this pandemic? Hold on to the person who wrote that article. Maybe they didn't read all the way through the bill, but student loan holders have not been given a break. If you got a student loan, what it is you're not paying interest. Interest rate is 0 right now, and you don't pay interest, but that stops in September. And then a payment on those loans are reinstated, and you got to start back up playing. By the way, because those who wrote that article probably didn't read the bill, also in the Careless Act bill that was supposed to be for people, if you have a private loan, you are disqualified from receiving any tax break or a stay on paying back your student loan. You have to pay, you have to continue to pay your loan. So the person, what was that Forbes article, or was it the Business Insider? One of the two, whoever wrote that article, is bogus to me, because I've been reading through the bill. It's bogus. who's been benefiting? Group right here, wealthy people, big business. Let me finish reading. They do what they always do, avoid paying taxes. Let me proceed. Play a game, moving their money around so they don't have to pay taxes. All right, so for example, the so-called Section 7520 rate determined each month based on a formula fell to 0.8% in May from 1.2% in April. Now, they're moving their money for free. They already don't want to pay taxes anyway. Don't be paying taxes on that money. And this is how they avoid paying taxes on the money. One way, it has been well above 2% for most of last year. Now, 2% to move your money to your family member, to your grandkids and grandkids, that's not a high interest rate at all. Now, I get people writing articles who want to scream and holler about a temporary 0% interest rate that those who have borrowed student loans get to have up until September. Some get to have, not all. Let me finish. The previous low, low for the rate, which applies to many popular trust strategies, was 1% in January 2013. The simplest way for the rich to take advantage of low interest rates is to loan cash or their assets to family members. And that's not new for them. They do it all the time. Even in little kids' names, who not old enough to even be making any type of financial decisions like that. But let me finish. Heirs can borrow millions of dollars, then invest the money and profit from any upside. Then what do they do after that? Give it right back to mommy, daddy, or grandma, granddad. This is not new. This is what they doing. Now they all running to do it. Again, a profit for big business and the wealthy during this pandemic. The law, that Careless Act, was already written on their behalf for them, to benefit them. Then you get articles with people running around screaming, talking about, which is false, it's bogus. Oh, with student loan, they're getting over. No, they're not, because they still gonna have to pay their student loans at the end of the day. They still gonna have to pay them student loans back at the end of the day. They didn't get no loan forgiveness, no student loan forgiveness. That's not in the bill. That's a no bill I've seen passed. But what I have seen is bills is tax breaks for the wealthy. All day, every day. Now, low interest rates for them. No taxes. They ain't got to pay no taxes to move money now. Beneficiaries can lock in today's ultra low rates for years or even decades. This interest rate get to go to them for decades. What? What? The IRS required rate on midterm loans is 3 to 9 years. That the interest rate for that is 0.58% in May. 3 to 9 years, they get to go ahead and take advantage of that rate. Pay no taxes to move money or own the money that they have. All right. The rate is on longer term loans, which can last 20 years or more. And the interest rate for that is a whopping 1.15%. Go back through tonight and look at the interest rate you're paying on everything that you have to pay out on. Working class American, tax-paying American. Sophisticated strategies? Oh, yes. They've been doing that for years. This is what the wealthy people are doing. David Steen, a partner in the private client tax team of Withers Worldwide, said many people he helps are deciding to take out longer term loans, preferring to pay a bit more in interest to guarantee a historically low interest rate for decades. They ain't paying nothing in interest right now, no way. Percentage wise, anyway. The falling rates ensure that the sophisticated real estate planning strategies, especially those that rely on loans and trust, on loans to trust. The advantage of these techniques, as well as simpler loans, is that they don't eat into any of the U.S. estate and gift tax exemption. The amount the Americans can transfer to their heirs without triggering the tax. You know, before they start hitting, you say, okay, you get transferred to them, you go above this amount, start transferring, you get hit with tax. Now, the 2020 exemption, which was doubled as part of the 2017 tax law, is 11.6 million for individuals and more than 23 million for married couples. Do they get to move their money and play around with their money? Yes, they do. Have they done it? Yes, they have. They always have done it, but now they really, this is like a kid being in a candy store who loves candy for them. The wealthy, the super wealthy, the 1%. I'm not anti-wealth. Money is a tool. I am anti-exploitation. That's one of the things that I concur with Warren Buffett. Wealthy need to pay their taxes. Right along with big businesses. People want to scream and holler about a deficit. I don't want to hear nothing about no deficit. Where we gonna get the money from? Making wealthy people in the big businesses pay their taxes. That's where you're gonna get the money from. But here we go. Like I said, everybody else running away. A tale of two different worlds. Reality versus the psychology of COVID-19, aka SARS-2. Here it is. They moving their monies. They moving their money all around. So Americans, some Americans, and I'm at the bottom now, this is how much money they're moving, will inherit an estimated 764 billion in 2020. How much are the wealthy people moving around? An estimation that's going to be estimated they're going to move and play with in the name of an estate tax benefit to their heirs. A rough estimate, 76.4 billion in 2020. And I have people talking about a deficit to me. Talking about the US, $2.2 trillion. And concerned with it being on the backs of our kids, if we have some, and future generations. My concern is make them pay what they should pay, big business and wealthy, and process of eliminate that deficit, can pay it off if they pay their taxes and not be given so many tax breaks. Oh, and the pay in average of what they're going to pay, the interest rate that they're going to pay is 2.1% on average. That's it. That's it. That's it. And I have other people working class people running around championing the causes of the 1% and the wealthy people who own these businesses. Some were out there maybe advocating for, thought they were advocating for the small businesses. All small businesses need to do is turn around and sue them. Small businesses, sue the US government. Don't play. Don't play. Don't play. Oh. It's gonna get better. It's gonna get better. We're talking about the super ugly now. And this is why I need people to pay attention to what be going on and not get caught up in the hyperboles of protesters running out there. I said you better pay attention to what's going on in the background and watch the way everybody's moving. That's what I say. That's what I was taught. You can say anything. You watch the way they move. This is free information. Oh, let me go to the hotels. And I am for a stay on rent and mortgages, but a real stay. Not people coming in on the back end trying to collect all that money. Landlords and loan mortgage holders. No. And I did hear the other side argument that they would take a loss. But in taking your losses, here's where double dipping happens. So you write it off as a loss for the US government. Then you turn around and you make the US government give you some money. And then in lieu of you turning around, because you know you're going to take that handout off the American taxpayers' back from the United States government, you landlords and you mortgage companies, you know you're going to take the handout, right? You always do. Okay. So while you're sitting up there talking about whatever during this pandemic, world of disconnect, the reality of COVID-19 versus the psychology of COVID-19. The psychology is this. It's more than double dip. It's a triple dip benefit. You get to write it off as loss. You file taxes. You know, the United States government, they're going to always run you some more money in the form of some relief bill. Okay. So you get to get money. You get some money back, our tax money back. Okay. And then you turn around and you'll sue the renter or the homeowners or the mortgage holders. You've just profited 3 different ways. Kerensz, are you upset? I had to calm myself a little earlier. I choose not to get upset. I am passionate about what I'm saying. All right. But that's how the rich have exploited the systems and always exploit the systems. Oh, okay, so let me get to some of you greedy hotel owners who came in and got small business loans. By the way, in the bill, you're supposed to be a fine up to $1 million for those who falsely filed for pandemic relief. I need these companies to pay their fines up while they're talking about we giving the money back. I need you to pay that fine too, that $1 million plus fine, as well as, what was it, some prison penalties attached to it too. Where's the oversight committee? What they doing? Since everybody's, some of us are still sheltered at home and sheltered in place, it seems like you have a lot of time to be reading. Lawmakers. Let me get to the greedy business. Talking about they're gonna give roughly, what, 70 million back that they acquired illegally or under false pretenses in small business pandemic relief. Oh, whoop-de-doo, you're going to give roughly $7 million back that you were never, ever entitled to in the first place. Then I got people running around. That's me. You ain't watching nothing these businesses doing. Not only are you not watching what businesses are doing, are you reading the legislation that's being passed up there on the Hill? As elected officials pencil whoop the American people's head and call it unprecedented. Wow. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Okay. Let me share on this. J. Alexander's, I don't think I'm ever going to eat again at your restaurant. Good hamburger, had some good quality food, but you were one of the companies that exploited knowingly the taxpayers' finances during this pandemic relief. You knowingly sat down and filed paperwork for pandemic relief that was strictly for small businesses. You knew you were not a small business. You knew you did not need the money. You knew you did not qualify for a small business, and you did it anyway. And saying you will give the money back means nothing to me. I'm just not going to continue to support businesses that operate with no integrity, no ethics, no character. And as much as I have enjoyed eating there, I'm parting my ways with y'all. I'm not going to patronize you. You don't need to get my money. No, and you don't get to exploit people and still get my money. When I find out about it, if I find out you're exploiting people, I'm not going to support you. Netflix and chill, never, never that. Right on the borderline again, I shut my Facebook page down, like I did years ago, because I'm looking at what's going on in the back, and I'll have to do that on a tech talk when I just come up and talk about technology and what's really going on behind the scenes. In part, limited scope, not too much. Here it is. Hotel group will return tens of millions in small business loans. Okay. Okay, one of the biggest benefactors of the government small business lending program said on Saturday that his company will return at least 7 million in loans, 70 million in loans back through the Paycheck Protection Program. Okay. Ashford Incorporated, which oversees a tightly interwoven group of hotels and resorts, had seen its subsidiaries apply for 126 million in loans, and the firm had previously said it planned to keep the money it had received. Excuse me. Small business loans, prerequisites, 500 employees or less. Now, I have hotels and resorts being grouped together, y'all interwoven together, applying for loans. Y'all got well over 500 employees. When you start adding all the resorts and hotels up together, matter of fact, we could just probably take one hotel and break the numbers down. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. This is the taxpayers' money. Oh, by the way, I'm going to get to the fact that some people have yet to receive their $1,200, and some parents have not received the $500. I know my daughter didn't get her $500, and she qualified for it. And the IRS, I'm gonna get there too. This is coming after that. Said maybe next year you'll get the $500 for your qualifying child. I'm gonna go to the IRS website again and see if that's what they said, because that's the way it's allegedly written up to a degree in the article. But I say allegedly because I haven't read it all the way through it. I just looked at the title and said, okay. So, they want to get the money back. In lieu of you giving the money back, roll those penalties. Yeah, that's $1 million per entity and per subsidiary. Run it for each entity and subsidiary. That's a parent company, and the children companies that had over 500 employees. The way that I'm counting is $1 million from all. Each that had over 500 employees. That's the way I'm doing the math. With penalties of prison. That's the way I'm counting the dollars coming back. On Saturday, citing new guidelines from small business administrations that restrict who can receive funding. It's already right there in the bill. The qualifiers were in the bill as who could receive funding. It was already right there. All you had to do was read the bill and get your people in place who can read and comprehend and understand and verify. Can you verify? Can you verify? Can you verify the amount of employees that a business have before you send a loan out? It goes like this. Excuse me, Google, take me to X number website so I can verify the number of employees that they have. And once you go to their website, you can clearly see. I'm gonna proceed. All right, so here they go. And now you got the Trump administration, they scrambling to tighten up program rules. Secretary Steve Mnuchin said companies had until May 7th to voluntarily return the funds, and the firms could be held criminally liable. No, that's not what the bill says. They don't give you a deadline on returning the funds before you be held criminally liable. It says that if you took these monies under false pretenses and false claims, you would be held liable. That's the way I'm interpreting, because that's the way it was in there. And we wonder why taxpayers always get the short end of the stick. So you know Chuck Schumer is screaming, you know other Democrats up there screaming, you know independents screaming about the money coming back. It's more than just the money coming back, it's the fine with the money coming back. It's that $1 million a pop. As well as the ramifications of them serving some prison time. If it was any other thief, and that's what they did, this is like stealing. Fraudulent claim. That's what this is, fraudulent claim. Now, if anybody else was following fraudulent claims, not only would they be fined and have to show up in court, they would end up in prison. Somebody need to go to prison behind this plan. That's what's in the bill, right? CARES Act. Careless Act. That's what's in there. Once again, the reality of COVID-19 versus the psychology of COVID-19. Protesters, the Grim Reapers don't care nothing about y'all. Rich people exploiting the system as usual, getting away as usual. So when I do show up to protest again, it won't be protesting a shelter in place. It will be protesting against foolishness like this and forcing lawmakers and legislators to do their job. It's in the bill. And if you can't do your jobs, then in my mind, I already have a bunch of class action lawsuits rolling around in my head. But we're not going to play a game. We're not going to play with this. Okay, now, why the greedy goblins have been exploiting the system, let me get to the working class people who have not been receiving pandemic. And, you know, when my one first cousin who's still in the process of recovering from SARS from Ohio, he said, well, I ain't getting no $1,200 yet. And I know I'm not over the financial income threshold. And like I said, but I ain't had no $500 for my child yet. She's 16. Now let me see what the IRS is saying. And we're going to go to the IRS website after these articles. And then we're going to go to some technology, tracing. People volunteering. And there's so many bogus 5G articles out there too. It's getting ridiculous. People talking about 5th generation, killing off bees and all that other stuff. I'm not concerned about the life of a bumblebee. People concerned about so much other stuff instead of, to me, the things that you should be concerned about. Let me do the share on this. I'm gonna get to technology because some of the same people that are screaming and hollering about 5G, some of those people probably have signed up to be tested with a vaccine for coronavirus SARS-2. And the flip side of that is technology. They tracing you. Yeah. I'm gonna go there too. IRS tells parents still waiting for $500 stimulus child benefit. It won't arrive until next year. This is the Washington Post. So really? Okay. In a rush to send payments, many Americans did not get the full amount that they were doing. Like I said before, they even had given me a date in the system because they had to verify that I was who I said I was and verify my information. It was already parents saying that they did not get $500 for their kids. Some did, some family members did, some people did, some people didn't. Some people said they got part, maybe received $500 for one kid and didn't get $500 for the other 2 kids that qualified. Some people said they didn't get any. So it's just no order, okay? No order. But right here, May 1st, 2020, Americans who said they didn't receive the full stimulus payments due to them under the $2 trillion stimulus package will have to wait until 2021 to get the rest of their money. The IRS said in an updated post on its website. Okay, we're gonna go to the IRS website. I gotta see that. Okay, the news looks likely to further frustrate thousands who complain on social media and to news organizations, including the Washington Post, about glitches and to rush to get stimulus payments to people. And that has to deal with organization and project management. Wow. Okay. No, I'm not getting ready to sign in. Let me go to the other article. I'm not signing in to read that. The rest of that article. They want me to. Wow. Okay. I'm gonna look at this and then we go into the IRS website and then we're gonna hit that technology and some tracing. People concerned about people being injected with micro chips over here. We're not there yet. Sweden been did that. Sweden been done that. Let me use my language on that. Sweden been done that. Let me use my slangonomics. Sweden been done that. And before I show this, I will say that's dangerous. Let me show this and then go into my technology spiel. Although I'm in technology, like I said, it's a fine line that I don't ever believe in crossing. Not never, ever, at any time for any reason. But here we go. Sorry, parents. My child did get her 500 either, and she needs that for her business plan. Once it gets here, she will get it for her business plan. Some coronavirus stimulus checks go out without $500 for qualifying children. Let me blow this up some. This is a little low. I like key points. The government is sending millions of checks, up to $1,200 per individual and $500 for eligible children to help stave off the negative financial effects of the coronavirus crisis. Some families who received their payments this week also got an unwelcome surprise. Their children under 17, because that was the prerequisites, right? The qualifiers. Threshold age, 17 or older, did not qualify, did not receive the $500 payment that was due them. And that's what's in the bill. Nowhere have I read in this bill about parents whose children qualify receiving money, $500 in 2021. That wasn't, I didn't read that. I didn't read that in there. But let me proceed. Those families say they're struggling without the money. And here's what members of Congress and the IRS have said so far about the situation. My heart goes out to you parents who are struggling financially without that money that you need for your kids, which is just you borrowing some of your taxpayer, well, being given some of your taxpayers' money. Why big businesses run amok on the rest of your money that you pay, that you put into the federal reserves coffers in the terms of paying federal tax. Okay. Really, this is. Hey, Jen. Jen, you say I always got receipts. Proofs is what I call them, Jen. Proofs. Proofs, exhibits for court. My mind always thinks in terms of being court ready, court preparedness, building a case, making a claim. and proofing up my claim that I'm making for the cases that I'm building. Millions of families are counting. They were counting on this money during this pandemic relief that's written up into this bill. However, some are opening their bank accounts to find an unwelcome surprise. We read that qualified in the other article, but this is a different person writing this. Okay, this is this is CNBC. Many complaints are coming from particular groups, individuals who were receiving government benefits such as Social Security that they pay into. Come on, don't play with it. Supplemental security income or veteran benefits. Veterans can't even get to 500 for their qualifying kids. So these are some of the groups that they noticed were having problems or issues. I'm not in any of those groups right there. I'm not in any of the three of the groups. And there's still some issues. Now, this is a group that they're saying that are complaints, many complaints are coming from these groups. But I already understood on the onset that they were not organized and they didn't think this through thoroughly enough. And because I understand project management. And testing out systems to make sure that they run smoothly and are efficient. Prior to launching the system, that's why I'm for pilot testing. Systems before you put them in place. Not only am I for pilot testing, and technology, you have to do things agilely, bit by bit. So if it's an area broken in the system, you don't have to take the entire system offline or scrap it. You can just go in and fix that specific area. And I know, well, whatever, I don't know what they're doing. The following legislation passed by Congress, individuals are eligible for one-time payment up to $1,200 or $2,400 per married couple. That's if they meet the income qualifiers, and that's not all. That's just some of the American taxpayers who qualify for this. Let me be clear about that. Plus $500 for each of their children under the age of 17. So a family with 3 qualifying children could find $1,500 missing from their stimulus money if their dependents are not included. I only have one child. I mentioned that before. Okay, so personal finance is saying this. Stimulus checks sent to dead people should be returned. At first, attorneys were saying, don't return the money, they didn't know what to do with it. Disclaimer again, I did a live and I said that. I was saying what the attorney said. Now they're saying, send the money back. Send it back, don't spend it. But if they send you more than what they were supposed to send you, keep it. No organization, no order. No order, no order. And it's gonna be some lawsuits behind that too. Anyway, how lawmakers could get more stimulus into people's hands. May 5th is the deadline for veterans and SSI beneficiaries with kids. And the deadline is fast approaching to go to their portal and sign. But what I find interesting also is the fact that people who are married to immigrants have said they've not been receiving any stimulus money at all. They're US American, raised and born. And they said they've received nothing, absolutely nothing. That's another group that's out there. And they think they're being disqualified because their spouse is from another country. And if we want to go off spouses from other country and disqualifiers over here, then number 45 should have never, ever been in office, as well as some other presidents, because his wives were not born in the United States of America, and that's free. And I'm gonna get off that and leave that alone. So we're not gonna be trying to disqualify people based off spouses. I would hope they would not be that careless, especially when this one, Russian wives. Don't play. They weren't born over here. Don't start to stoop. See, I hope they're not doing dumb stuff like that. I hope they're not doing no dumb stuff like that. Let's leave WW. How dumb can you be behind in 2020? So Jessica, she 36. She of Iowa. She lives on Social Security disability. She was diagnosed with a medical condition which she does not have to disclose. That's her personal business. She didn't get her $500. She hasn't received her $500 that the bill said that she would get during this pandemic relief. Okay. So her children are ages 9, 10, and 15. So yeah, that's $1,500 that she should receive. She didn't get. Okay, let me scroll down. On April 20th, the IRS announced that Social Security and railroad retirement beneficiaries had until noon on April 22nd to submit information for their qualifying dependents to make sure that they were included in stimulus payments. But we went over that several times over here, taking people to, we did a portal watch. We wanted to watch and see when it was up. When it was up, we walked through, wanted to see the walkthrough of it, just to see what was going on in that regards per what they were saying. Okay. Now let me get down here. On April 23rd, a group of 40 senators wrote a letter to the Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin and Social Security Commissioner Andrew Stahl. We urge your agencies to continue providing access to the non-filers tool after non-filers receive their initial automatic stimulus payments, so that this economically vulnerable individuals can request and receive an additional payments for their independent children prior to 2021. So some senators, I don't know which ones, some, I can only but imagine in my mind, but I won't speculate without fact finding. The most recent guidance from the IRS says those who miss dependent payments now will have to wait until they file their 2020 tax returns to receive money. That ain't what the bills say. That's gonna be an issue. This is a war right here. This is crazy. It's a catch 2020, as many government beneficiaries typically don't file tax returns because they have low to no taxable income, because they don't have to file taxes, even though they pay federal taxes. Meanwhile, those families need their money now. Another Kendra, Kara, Cantrell, 35, Colorado. Her 16-year-old didn't get $500. Like I said, mine didn't, but I don't receive Social Security, so, or retirement benefits or anything like that. Let me go to the IRS website and see what they're saying. This is a mess, because they're not in order. But they managed to send money out to dead people. But they managed to let other people get tax breaks and low interest rates. But they managed to send money for fraudulent claims to businesses who should have not been receiving it at all. But you can't manage to run $500 to people who file taxes. Usually, you have my tax information. Like I said, when I was hacked years ago, I had to send everything in except for my dirty bath water. I got all my information, all of it, down to the elementary schools I attended. So I don't. Somebody make it make sense. Okay, let me go to this IRS portal, see what they got up here. All right, let's see what they got on this website. See, they're getting off into foolishness and super silliness in terms of saying, wait till 2020 to get the 500. That's not what's in the bill. It's not what's in the bill at all. What the bill stated is you have children at a certain age, then you qualify for that $500. They will be receiving. That's what's in the bill. Nowhere is it a clause in the bill that said those who were eligible would have to wait with a qualifying child if they didn't receive their money until next year. That's not in the bill. That's not in there. Don't be making up stuff on the fly. Y'all legislated the bill, stick to it. You wanted to legislate all them tax breaks up in there. It's what y'all passed, right? Stick to what you passed. That's what you passed. Okay, I got it pulled up. Let me do the screen share on this. Recently filed tax return. Do I get a payment? Requesting my economic impact payment. Okay. Economic Impact Payment Information Center. Eligibility. Calculating, receiving my payment. More about payment. Let's go and receiving my payment first before we go into more about payment. Updated this on April, this section right here on April the 24th, 2020. Gross income. We already went over a lot of these questions that these people are here asking. Because like I said, we were reading through the bill. What I'm specifically looking for is those who did not receive $500 for a qualifying child, no matter what group you fall into, whether you're retired, on Social Security, on SSI, or a veteran, or you don't fall into that group. All you're like myself, you are none of the above. You just happen, your child just happened to get skipped or whatever, because it's a group, it's another group of us out there like that too. More about living abroad, Virginia. Okay. me go back up. Let me go to the non-filers portal. But you have filers too. So, okay. Go here. Let me go to this page and see what they're saying. All right. We went over a lot of this. See if you're eligible for income. See, we went over all of this earlier on. Now, like I said, the lack of clarity comes into them not being organized and flying by the seat of their pants and making up stuff on the fly. For those who either didn't get the amount they were supposed to get, or those who received nothing at all, who qualified. All right, filers, get your payment. So we've been here, get your payment and account information. We talked about banking information. Like I said, if you have anything levied against you, if you have an order levied against you, or any of your bank accounts, if you have a levy against any of your bank accounts, I said, go open up another account somewhere that they don't have a judgment or a lien against your things. Do it that way, or close that bank account down and force them to send you a paper check. That was just my strong recommendation. Shoot, even them. Also, visit the FIC website for information on where to find a bank that can open an account online and how to use the right account for you. So they saying some of the same stuff I'm saying. I'm just not referring anybody to any bank that they trying to send you to. I don't know what banks they have on there. No, they didn't say what I said. That's me being, they didn't. All right, non-filers. Okay, so the group who have Social Security, veterans income and things like that, who really don't, the group that doesn't have to file taxes, okay? Or get SSI or anything like that. You don't have to file taxes. They're saying, and my assumption is, well, I can't assume that. You have qualifying children age 17 and under, and you receive SSI or veteran benefits, you must enter your children's information by May 5th. So they're only asking here why they said that they updated something on their website for a specific group of people. They're not asking for the other. Okay, let me read all the way through this. Non-filers, we read it before, but let me read all the way through it since we got some disorder going on. Use the non-filers, enter your payment information here. All right, use the non-filers, enter payment information here. If you're not required to file federal income tax returns during 2018 and 2019, for any reason, including your income being less than $12,200, you were married filing jointly and together, both of your income were less than $24,400, or you had no income, or you have qualifying children age 17 and you receive SSI or veteran benefits, you must enter your information by May 5th. Do not use this tool if you are required to file a 2018 or 2019 tax return. You should file as you normally would. So before they were saying this and that with the file, don't file, do file. But like I said, they didn't have it together. So let's click on this again. Y'all know I'm gonna click on it to see what happens. All right. So it's when you click on this that they start speaking to the specific group. Register by May 5th. Okay. The two below gets you registered. You put the child's information in. When should I use the non-filer payment information tool? Info tool here. See our scenarios. We already know what the scenarios were. Who's eligible for the economic income impact payment? Citizens, U.S. citizens, permanent residents, qualifying resident aliens who have a valid Social Security number. We went over that. You cannot be claimed as a dependent by another taxpayer. We went over that. Who had a adjusted gross income under certain limits. We've gone over all of these things right here several times. I'm not going with nothing. Who will receive economic impact payment automatically without taking additional steps? I'm not even, because y'all got all this stuff out of order. I'm not even getting ready to read through that. I'm watching what's being done. Okay. So they can come here and enter information again. All right, whatever. I didn't see on here, and maybe it's on another IRS page. And maybe people are getting an individual message once they log in to the pandemic website, this specific portal that's informing them that they won't see a credit or any monies for their child until 2021. Maybe it's an individual message on the inside. Let me go to IRS statements and announcements. Maybe it's under that section. No, I don't see it underneath the topic here. So. Let's go back. We just got off of this. I didn't see them say specifically what was written in that article. You know, that's what I'm looking for. Did to get my payment to. Maybe it's an individual message people were getting. Who's eligible? Who's not eligible? How much is it worth? Do I need to take action? Maybe I just have to go under all of these and read. They already answered this. This is in the bill. This is in the bill. Who's not eligible? That's in the bill. How much is it worth? Went over this part too. We just hit the non-filers info. I need to file a tax return? We went over that. We answered that. Okay, this is them mailing out checks. Avoiding COVID-19 scams. We mentioned that early on too. Should I use to get my information or non-filers? We've answered that. We answered what you're supposed to be using based up on where you fall at. See, none of this is saying that in 2021, they'll be sending people who have qualifying children $500 who missed it. I don't see that on here. Payment status not available. My payment status, never say that, it just said they would verify my information on check, see who I was. Okay, they just asking. People are applying. All right. Okay, I neither owed or received a refund on my tax return. What should I enter? Submit. Should I enter? You can select either I received a refund or I owed money and enter 0 for the refund. Okay, so they added that section. Okay, I don't see what they was talking about on there. On the IRS website. That's why I said I just wanted to verify that, or whatever. I spent too long on there. Okay. Let me go here. For you people who are, volunteering, I want to keep saying you people, that's kind of, for people who are volunteering to be guinea pig tested. Not only to be guinea pig tested or to be in a group who have had COVID-19, AKA SARS, AKA COVID-19, SARS-2, let me be specific. The tracing, I'm not for it. So when I find out the answer to the one article about the 2021, for those who missed out, I'm gonna have to call a senator and ask. I'm gonna call a senator and ask. I'm not gonna be out here guessing like that when they're a phone call away. I'll make a phone call tomorrow. Phone call and email, but I'm not gonna guess with that. Okay, right here, the tracing. This is the article I'm pulling up. Then I'm gonna show a video. We're gonna wrap this up and I'm gonna be done. All right. Maybe I should have pulled it up. Okay. Here it is. Oh, I gotta blow this up. These some little bitty words. Right here. Why more Americans are willing to share their personal information for drug trials than contact tracing efforts. So here are sharing your information. We're going to talk about this contact tracing. Come on, pull it up. Whatever. Okay. I have to blow you up. If this don't stop, let me stop the share on this because it's out of key. It's not completely loaded in the background yet. That's why it's still cycling through. And it's almost like this specific page here wants to crash. Apologies for the loud clicks in the background. If they don't get to the all right. This is a webmaster market watch. You need to come fix this. Wherever the webmaster is, you need to get on this website. Do your update. Why Americans are willing to share their personal information in drug trials, but not for coronavirus contact tracing efforts. And I don't blame them to a degree, but you wouldn't be getting all of my information either. Matter of fact, I wouldn't even be in a drug trial. Like I said, if somebody told you I signed up to volunteer for a vaccine, they lying. No, I didn't. No. You're not just a guinea pig, test a bunch of mess on me that may or may not work, and I don't know what it is. Absolutely not. 58% of US adults said they would at least be somewhat willing to participate in clinical studies, according to research by Pew Healthcare Associate Institute. I'm not volunteering for none of this. Contract tracing and the drug trials could be two key milestones on the path forward to safety, reopening America's economy. Listen, will I get a test conducted? Yes. Will I let you test medications out on my persons? No. Will I let contact tracing? No, I already said that. I said, let the tracing be amongst those who've had tested positive for it, if they agree to it. But Americans have different views on each. They're hesitant to share their personal information for contact tracing efforts, but at the same time, it's not true when they come to drug trials and studies. The studies suggest, excuse me, you're not getting. I choose none of the above. If I had to, if I were forced to choose, it would not to get drug tested. It wouldn't be that. It would probably be for the contact tracing. You know why? Because I do know something about technology, and I know how to dismantle my electronic. I also know how to intentionally, on purpose, block a signal from getting to every electronic device I have. It's a way I can do that and not have you trace my whereabouts at all from an electronic device. So I don't have to choose. The answer is no to both. But if I did have to choose, it would not to be to be guinea pig tested, and you have my information for drug use. No, I have a certain type of blood in my body. No, you're not getting all of my medical information. No, you're not. You're not getting ready to know my life, medical story or history. No. But people are more willing to give up information as it pertains to that for COVID-19, but the contact tracing, they don't want to do that. Maybe I need to do a private live for those groups of American and show them how to block every signal from hitting the electronic device, which is not hard to do. Americans are divided. Okay. And I say no to both. A big resounding no to both. No. No. No to companies having your information. No to companies contact tracing technology. No, listen. Let me say this right here. A lot of cell phone providers, service providers, were already selling people's geographic location, every geographic location, to third parties anyway. There's lawsuits with that. A lot of these companies were doing that. They were selling your geographic location and areas to third parties. So you want to talk about tracing your geographic location years ago from a lot of these companies were already sold to third parties. Everywhere that you would go and you had your phone on, they were selling your location to third parties. That was years back. So for people who want to talk about be all scared about contact tracing, I'm gonna need people to really start paying attention in terms of everything all the way around. Don't come up with your conspiracy about technology. This ain't no conspiracy. It is what it is. I know what I know in terms of technology. Yes, they were selling. That meant you on your phone, you at the store, where your internet service provider, because that's what they provide you with. Your cellular providers providing you with access to the internet. So that's the category I have them in. You at a store, unbeknownst to you, they were selling to a lot of people, they were selling your information to another third party. Everywhere you went, they told somebody else. They didn't just tell them, they sold the information. Your information from your phone, from their networks to other people about your locations. We want to talk about contact tracing. To see who had whatever. And again, I say no. I said no. But on me saying no, I just want to caution people who are, like I said, if a small little group who had it, let them know who had it in a perimeter. That's fine, if they choose to do so. Do that. You're not going to research nothing on me. I am anti being tested on a drug end and them having any of my information or my data, medical history as it pertains to SARS-2. No, you absolutely will not, unless I just have to go. I'm not going to sit up and voluntarily give you my information, my medical information like that. But these people are more for giving up their information for a drug trial as opposed to when the reality versus the psychology of the situation is most of these tech companies and network providers have already given out your information as it pertains to your geographic location, sold your information without your consent. So let me be clear. Let me not say given like it was just given without financial benefit or monetary gain. So I'm for neither. I'm for neither. I'm for neither. I'm definitely not for the medical aspect. Absolutely not. I have a certain type of blood in my body. Absolutely not. And so during this pandemic, it becomes the reality of COVID-19 versus the psychology of COVID-19. After this, I'm gonna get to a video and I'm gonna get off like I said I was, but I wanted to pull this article up. Here it is. Even using a simplistic contact tracing app that doesn't track the person's location has potential to substantially reduce the number of new coronavirus cases, hospitalizations, and ICU admissions. Researchers from University of Oxford found. Okay, University of Oxford. Let me see how y'all gonna break this down. Based on a model of over 1 million inhabitants of the city, the research reported that this is the case if approximately 60% of the population use the app. Okay. So this is the type of stuff that I had to do. I had right here. This is the type of stuff I had to do. This is somebody, person uses the app. It records other people with whom have had, oh, wait a minute. Not on that. I'm reading, I thought I'm zooming into this. Control Z for Zoom. Control D for deselect to take it back down. The person develops asymptomatic person reports COVID-19 system, goes to the app, person. Listen, no. Unless you enable the geographic location selection that's on the inside of your app, they're going to know where you're at anyway. You have to manually go in and disable that on a lot of these cell phones. A lot of people don't know that. You have to manually go in and disable that feature inside the phone. They're already tracking your geographic location anyway, unless you had it disabled on your phone. I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna leave that alone. See, people come out with, and they don't understand, and they don't know. They don't really know. They just really don't know. And it's not, well, I'm not for it. I'm not for tracking. I'm not for microchips being inside of people. When I said I would get to the microchip part and make my comment on that right now, I was gonna make it earlier. Let me tell you something about microchips. Sweden's who've had it injected into them for over years, for over a year plus. Those who decided to get it. Hackers hack, okay? There will always be a threat, and the risk of a hacker backdooring any system or anything electronically. And since there is always the risk and threat that a hacker will provide, or the risk of threat to the security of any system, and that includes the microchips that you Swedens and other ones have on the inside of you, know this. It's not if the hacker exploits those microchips on the inside of your system, it's when. What security measures will be in place to protect your body? You don't need no microchip on the inside of you anyway. Putting extra toxins on the inside of your system in your body like that. You just got a whole nother toxin on the inside of you voluntarily. Sweden. Okay, for people who haven't been to Sweden, they've been there, done that, been there doing that. I'm not with it. Contact tracing. I'm not with it. Those of us who have cell phones, enable your geographic location on the inside of your electronic device. Disable it. Because if you don't disable it manually, guess what? They tracing you anyway. They got your geographic location. Now, for the US, we are not at this point yet because big businesses over here real greedy and they too cheap to invest in technology, the security of technology like they should. They too cheap to invest in upgraded infrastructures like they should. They are too cheap. I said it, cheap. No quality electronics, cheap. No quality networks, cheap. Too cheap. You go to other countries. You want to talk about contact tracing? Okay, I got a video for you. This is how China get down, big getting down. Where's this, China? This is how they get down over there. We already know how China was getting down. QR code for all they people. Turn your electronic device off over there if you want to and watch them come get you. This is after COVID-19, AKA SARS. That's what they doing over there. And when I see Americans running around over here talking about freedom, we ain't free, we ain't free. No, they not free. That's not being free over there. When I said they were, when the SARS to COVID-19 pandemic broke out, that they were barricaded inside their homes to the point, or apartments, to barricaded inside their communities to the point where they can't go in or out without their government knowing. That's not a democracy. That's not freedom over there. You can disable the feature on the inside of your phone that would allow your geographic location to be tracked. You can disable it. You can still go outside and go back home. Okay, restaurants closed down. You screaming and hollering, you can't go to a restaurant. Some of y'all need to eat at home anyway. While you're out there, you need to be, some people need to be doing some exercises. Think about restaurant food in my mind anyway was the cleanliness and sanitation of the restaurant anyway. That's all, that's always been in my mind. That's why when I did used to go out to eat, I'd be right there with a view of who was bringing my food out, when the food coming out. And I like to eat in restaurants where they open flames in the kitchen right there where you can see straight through. I'm one of those type of people anyway. I want to be right there seeing what you're doing anyway. When I did go out to J. Alexander's, I'm right there. Put me by where I can see what's going on in the kitchen. No, and I can see who bringing myself out. I'm one of those. I'm one of those type of people anyway. So complaining because you can't eat at restaurants right now, restaurants closed down, economic financial loss of the business for your friend who's going to write it off and profit at least 3 different ways from it. A lot of stuff I don't want to hear. Now, for the businesses who get left out, yeah, I'm deeply concerned and I will fight for them. But for the rest of the business that are always included and never excluded, I'm not getting ready to fight. I'm not getting ready to help y'all fight. Y'all people, but I'm not helping you fight for nothing. I'm fighting for the people to get their money back from you and file some lawsuits if I need to. I'll do that. But let's talk about this, why I am not for any type of tracking and tracing to this degree. And when Snowden ran off and said what he said after he stole all your data from the United States government and took it over there to Russia, because people want to rock with him and call him a whistleblower. No, he was a thief. And if you went to a university with me, you would know that's one of my #1 people to shred apart. It's him. Should have been charged with treason for stealing the Americans' data. Americans' data and being allowed to leave and cross over to another territory with your data that he took from the US government's system. He took information, he took data. What, you think Russia was gonna keep him over up in there and there be no trade-off? Stop playing with me. Don't play with me. Don't see, some people are a little naive in terms of maybe a little naive in terms of the way data really works, or the high cost and price of data. Hackers, hackers make billions of dollars. That's why they gonna keep on hacking. That's a billion-dollar industry. Information is valuable. Always have been, always will be. Your data is worth billions of dollars. Now I'm on my technology rant. Now that I'm on my technology rant, reality versus the psychology. Now you see what you'll find out why I am really hard on corporations and businesses who don't secure people's data. I know what it's worth. Really, it's worth trillions, but the hackers making billions. Businesses who cheap to invest and upgrade their infrastructures for real security purposes and reasons. And people sitting up concerned about 5G. You don't need to be really concerned about no 5G affecting your health. You need to be more concerned about what them hackers can do to your life and your data and the company that had your information on the inside that's servicing your internet access. And how they not securing your data and how they backdoor selling your data without your consent and knowledge. Yeah, I saw the group of doctors who sitting up talking about 5G over in other countries, whatever. Like I said, we don't have our networks over here is trash. China. This is real tracking right here. This is this is some tracking for you. This is some tracking for you. This is some tracking for you. This is a tip. This is my technology tip. Any electronic device I get, I'm going to automatically make sure I can reprogram it. You have to come to a real tech class for me to learn that. Reprogram it, and I automatically go in. The first thing I started doing is uninstalling apps that were pre-installed. That's one of the things that I do. I'm one of them people that would take, if I feel like it, dismantle the entire electronic device and put everything in there new. This laptop I'm on now, the board that's on the inside of this one is new. It's not what they sent, because it was manufactured in a foreign country. It's not what they had on the inside of it. That was taken out. Tech guy that I go to that's been doing this for over 40 years, there's not an electronic device that I have that he did not gut and redo on the inside. I'm one of them type of people. I had them rebuild them inside, desktop too. Every laptop, rebuild the inside of it. Get all that stuff out. Let's put some different stuff in. Because you're dealing with other companies, you're dealing with people who have real, spies are real. It's not a theory, even though some people get off into Quackville and they go too far with their conspiracies. This stuff right here is real. Anyway, let me show this video. This is how China gets down. This is how China gets down. This is why I as beautiful as it is, it's one reason I said I was gonna fly over there, and then I pulled back and said, no, I'm not going. Nope, not going. I mean, beautiful, beautiful buildings, beautiful architecture in terms of homes, beautiful landscapes. You're not gonna be in my business like this right here. The thing about the US government is we're supposed to be a democracy. We can sue. We need to get some real privacy protection laws though. But here it is.
China has the largest video surveillance network in the world and plans to expand it to more than 600 million cameras over the next.
I'm gonna do, when I edit this video, and put all the links in the descriptions, what you're going to see in parentheses right next to my consent is go to towards the end of the video and watch. It's gonna be this. I'm gonna send you right here. Now, let me let it play. Now, and I'm gonna pause when we get to the surveillance camera.
China has the largest video surveillance network in the world.
Right? Let me let it play. Another camera.
And plans to expand it to more than 600 million cameras over the next 2 years. With the rise in facial recognition and artificial intelligence, it feels more like someone is watching all those cameras at all times.
Pause before she can finish. To the JK community. Yeah. It's someone that watched cameras at all times. Yes, yes, yes. Let me continue.
Hi, I'm Ellie. I'm in China, and I just got busted for jaywalking with facial recognition technology.
Stations like this one are part of a new plan by the Chinese government to publicly shame citizens caught breaking the law.
If you cross the street against the light, cameras with facial recognition technology will take a picture of your face, cross-reference it with your government ID, and then post it up there to embarrass you.
But China isn't embracing facial recognition just to catch jaywalkers. The technology is starting to appear just about anywhere you can imagine. It helps make menu recommendations at your local fast food spot. You can also pay for your food with your face.
Doesn't matter whether you smile or not, even though it's called smile to pay. Even if you are wearing a wig or have a heavy makeup, it will still recognize you.
It even curbs waste of toilet paper at public bathrooms. My gift. This is all I get for the next 9 minutes. And then I come back again, I try to get more. Chinese tech companies are now at the cutting edge of developing new and sophisticated ways to do video analysis. Right now we're going into Since Time, one of the biggest companies involved in developing that technology. Oh, that's me.
这个是我们的人脸识别的门禁，那它可以自动的识别人脸，然后方便员工进出。然后你站在门口，它很快就会把门打开。对于外来的人员来讲呢，他站在门口，门并不会打开。
So you know when someone's late?
所以我们也可以知道到底是每个人都是几点来，几点走了。
So Americans, U.S. naive citizens that's really naive about technology, misguided, misinformed, and really don't know. Excuse me, I will say it again. I will say it again. Electronics. Where'd your electronic device come from? China, right? China is known for being what? Spy? China is known for hackers. Don't ask me why. I'll get the inside of my stuff gutted out and rebuilt on the inside. I'm supposed to be for security, right? J for K community, I mentioned it. Cameras. Somebody watching cameras at all times. As a matter of fact, I talked about the configuration of red boxes and the fact that they trip the alarm when anyone shows up in the atmosphere. An alert is sent. And people expect for me to believe that whatever, I'm gonna leave that alone. Let Americans, that's naive. Pay attention when you go to these different countries. Pay attention and know this: when you on somebody else's territory, U.S. law don't fly over there. They law fly. Before you get over there, as soon as you stepping off that plane, they already got you in their databases, have you on their cameras and everything else. And this is one of the reasons I said no to going to China. As beautiful as it was, and I wanted to go over there and check out their technology and this and that. And no, thank you. Nah. I would have had to have gone over there years ago before they start putting on this. But no, absolutely not. No, I'm good.
所以这个呢是我们的一个肢体检测、肢体识别的一个功能。这个是我们的一个会场迎宾签到的一个系统，那它可以作为你的牌，并不需要说每次进出都需要刷卡，我们可以替代这么一个方式。 这个是我们给线下做这种广告营销互动的一个平台，它可以很快的识别出你的魅力值，然后表情、戴了墨镜、欢乐值、年龄以及你的性别。那相应的，它会有一个这个颜值的一个排行榜，都可以在一个后台得到。Yeah, now you are the number one.
But this goofy applications we were first shown, much of the tech Since Time is developing has serious real-world implications.
这边是我们给智慧城市、平安城市打造的一整套的系统。然后呢，这里头细节的我们可以看到很多标签，包括人的着装上身和下身的着装，然后颜色、性别、年龄，然后对于车辆我们可以识别到3000多种的车型，这个包括到具体品牌。那这样一个产品，它叫视频结构化，它能够很好的把视频中的一些关键信息提取出来。比如说我今天要找中午11点钟经过这个路口的红色车辆，然后可以很快的把这样一些目标物给检索出来。 这个是我们给这是上海外滩的一个场景，我们是给上海外滩的这个摄像头去做了一个人群的布控。左上这张图是一个原始的图片，然后同样的我们可以得到左下这张图是一个人群驻留时间的一个估计。那红色部分表示这些人群在这儿驻留时间非常长了。
So it can track suspicious activity within a large crowd.
它更多的是能够及时的发现一些异常状况，能够做更实时的响应，来减少损失。
Are you ever bothered by having no anonymity because there are cameras watching all the time?
从我自己的体验来讲，其实对这样的一些事情并不会很担忧。但是呢，像这样的一些算法或者说技术应用到实战的场景中去以后呢，如果说你真的要做坏事，以后就要小心了。
In just over 30 years since I first came to China, your progress has been nothing short of incredible. I believe.
No ass through here. Apologies.
But the reach of this technology goes way beyond public areas and increasingly infiltrates private spaces as well.
We're going into a government housing complex. Instead of doormen, they have security cameras with facial recognition technology. And we're going to go see how it works.
它是一个门禁和一个摄像头关联。对，这个咱们现在看到这个画面呢，是我们的一个，我这里边也可以看到保障人员的每个日期它的保障人员的出入情况，非保障人员的和陌生人的一个出入情况。
This is the number of visitors, and this is all of the residents. And this is our most popular person with 142.
然后呢，我们每个月月底的时候会出一个月报，提供给房管局，就是监管部门，因为这是他连续跑了，现在这个项目跑了快1年了，然后可能他累积的比较多。
How much more is your system doing that you're not allowed to show us?
然后工作挺多的，然后我在这边的话不太方便透露太多，希望理解。
In China, there are few protections limiting how much information the government can collect about its 1.4 billion citizens. Everyone over the age of 16 is required to have an official state-issued ID card that the government now wants to use to centralize all that information. And China is investing heavily in tech companies to help transform that government data into a virtually omniscient surveillance network. One of those companies is Megvii. It recently received a capital investment of nearly $500 million, part of which is from a state-run VC fund. But the name chosen for its premier piece of technology is a bit of a tell.
Skynet. What is that?
The Terminator is the favorite film of our founder. So they use the same name, but they want to put something good into this system.
So, okay, in the Terminator, Skynet is evil, rains down death from the sky. But in China, Skynet is good.
Yeah, that's the difference.
So how do you think your facial recognition technology will change China?
Everything happened in the public can be record. We can know exactly what happened in every second, in every corner of the city. This is a video stream in a subway station by our smart camera, so we can capture every face in real time. See, like some criminal person is out there. There is the red box, so there is a warning to the police station that there is a criminal person. So I need to locate them.
So when it looks out onto a crowd, it's tracking all these faces and it's cross-checking those faces against what?
Criminal database.
And how many fugitives have been apprehended through this system?
Over 3,000 cases in nationwide. Yeah, just one year.
In 1 year?
Yeah, 1 year.
Wow. So what you're working on now already seems like sci-fi. What do you think the future will look like in like 5 years?
Have you seen a film just like a Black Mirror? You just stand there and your face there is a point. So maybe that is the future.
But that's like a horror show.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think that is maybe the kind of the future. Every people have their social points, I think.
If you like spit gum on the sidewalk, it will
yeah, your points will be.
And your point would go down?
Yeah. Maybe that's the future.
But that future isn't too far away.
Now China's government is testing a new social credit score system which would rank its citizens based on their online behavior.
While it won't fully roll out until 2020, starting this year, China will ban people with a bad score from booking flights and train rides. We spoke with a lawyer who represents clients considered to be untrustworthy by the communist government about what this could mean for the future of China. What are the risks of this kind of program?
国家呢现在在搞大数据，在通过各种渠道里收集公民的这个信息，目前已经达到了很先进的地步。无论是道德或者呢这个诚信道德方面的，还是呢法律制裁方面的力量都不够。而我的感觉是你技术的先进啊，控制手段的这个先进啊，有没有用到，就是说你这个公平的啊？
What do you think of the government's argument that a social credit system will create a more meritocratic society?
这个本来呢是对的啊，就是好人有好报，是吧？你一贯遵纪守法的话，但实际上你由于这个前面我们讲的这个两个前提的，就是道德环境和那个法治环境的这个，如果这两个环境不健全，这个信用体系也会变味，会走歪了。 甚至会把一个善良的这个愿望呢产生了恶的结果。
No to the commercials. No, no.
Depression. Multiple symptoms hold you back. It's hard to get out of your driveway and your own way.
Nope.
But China isn't the only place experimenting with facial recognition applications. An airport in the Middle East is already planning face scanning aquariums as security checkpoints. In Europe, state-sanctioned and private initiatives are testing this technology in multiple locations, from train stations to online classes. And in the US, private companies are investing millions to secure government contracts, which could make machine learning and image recognition a regular part of police work. Law professor Andrew Guthrie Ferguson is a leading expert on big data policing. He spoke to us about the ramifications that these technologies could present. When you look at China's system of facial recognition and video surveillance, what do you see?
I see the future and it scares me. If you have the capability to identify people and patterns, and you can show association about where you go and why you're going there, it really will change the relationship between citizens and their governments.
In China, the government has heavily invested in these companies developing facial recognition technology. In the US, it's still more in the private sector. Can you explain the difference?
So much of the story of big data policing has been small startup companies, or even sometimes the big tech companies, that are pushing police to use new technologies. One of the open questions is who owns this data? Take police body cams, right? Right now, there is sort of an arms race of people trying to sell police body cameras to policing all across America. All of that data from all of those officers is actually really valuable for other non-law enforcement purposes. You're really capturing patterns of society. And if the private companies can use that data for other things, even sell it for other reasons, they're going to want to profit it. Part of the reason why we've seen this move toward big data policing is because it sounds like an objective move to sort of turn the page from some of the racial tension we've seen after Ferguson and after Baltimore and after Staten Island to something that sounds more objective. Don't worry, this is data-driven. The problem is the data comes from us. And if you're not cautious about how you're collecting that information and then using it, you're just going to reify the same biases.
So how slippery is the slope we're standing on? How quickly could this be implemented here?
The technology you see in China exists. It's working, and it can do the same thing here. Right now, our sort of regulatory legislative action just isn't there. We don't have protections to say it couldn't happen. Young people growing up in America today are pretty used to being surveilled by their phones and their Facebooks and their Snapchats and the rest. We might have different constitutional protections, but it's still unsettled. And it's an open question about how we react. And I hope we start asking those questions to react now.
That's why in my technology profession, not just the digital or computer forensics aspect, the investigation aspect of all electronic devices for both degrees, security in security assurance is at the top for me. The assurance of the electronic information that deals with privacy, that deals with systems being vulnerable and hackable. I will forever be on the privacy side of all technology. So when Americans run around over here talk about freedom, you don't know what it's like not to be free. When some of these Americans who've always been free want to talk about not being free because they're sheltered at home right now, you don't have electronic devices unless you choose to do so, tracking you everywhere you go unless you choose to do so. And so for a lot of social media websites, I'm not with them. The ones that you have to have an account in order to log in or view anything like Facebook, the ones that make you. See, the thing with YouTube is you don't have to have a YouTube account to stroll through and watch anything you want to watch. It's when you want to post stuff, they make you log in. You don't have, see, I look at different things. My perspective on technology, I love it. I love the evolution of technology. It's always the pros and the cons, and the negative side comes in on privacy violations and with the hackers. But it's a price to having the luxuries of technology, enjoying the luxuries of technology, and looking at the reality of technology and the psychology of technology. So in my sphere of education, when we sit up and we write, or when we do things from that perspective, we have to look at it and have looked at it from every different aspect. And so when I used to do my little private contracting to clean up people's electronic devices and different things like that, for me, it's all about privacy first. And it's fine lines over here that should never be crossed. And so contact tracing for COVID-19. No, I said on the onset, I was not for that unless people wanted that. They want to voluntarily do that, then let them do that. But saying that everyone has to have pre-installed apps and different apps like that, I'm not for it. Because on the back end, there's always the security risks. Not only are there security risks, there's the violation of privacy here. And we don't have privacy laws in place and legislated and passed on books like we should here in the United States of America as it pertains to technology. So, you know, a lot of this stuff, like I said, I love it. Education in it, obtain degrees in it, but I'm not for crossing that line. It's the line crossing that concerns me, have always concerned me, and still concern me. And the 360 view is not a new concept. It is so interesting to me that years ago, for universities, designing an app for terrorists, my app has 360 view, greater than that. And then I turn around years later and see people with 360 view in electronics. I said, oh, this is interesting. And that's when I scaled back on my ideas in terms of relinquishing them to universities, because the information becomes theirs then. That's when I started doing some scaling back. And I'm gonna leave that alone. Yeah. a bunch of designs floating in my head. Always have, always will. But I'm not going to relinquish them for somebody else to profit. And again, mine was for terrorists, specifically for tracking and finding terrorists years ago. Not tracking and finding every human that didn't have a record or was not wanted. Okay, so there's some reality for you in terms of technology, and people need to stop saying they want to be free. Go live in China. You'll learn about a little something about not being free. They didn't live through slavery. That wasn't free. That wasn't freedom. Sheltering in place for a little while. Fine. But don't ever confuse that with not being free. This is not supposed to be a communist country or nation. This is supposed to be a democracy. During this pandemic, we've been asked to shelter in place. Not that you could not be free. Just shelter in place to help mitigate and get some tests. But nobody's going to force a test on you. But at the same time, don't ask for medical help either. If you think it's fake, if you whatever, don't get the medical attention for it. Sign a waiver. Go out there, run around on your head. But the Grim Reaper say they don't care nothing about your life. The Grim Reaper showing up at the protest, been at the protest, all in the atmosphere. Well, now with that being said, let's remember we can look up, we can get up. If we can get up, we can go up. Please keep the next human being in mind. And let's go back out on a happy note or a positive note. There's no mountain high enough. There's no valley low enough, no river wide enough that can stop us from getting to you when it comes to justice. I meant to get on the lawsuit aspect, but I'm gonna have to do that on another day. And designate that day tomorrow or Monday or on Tuesday, whichever it be, on constitutionally how this US government can get sued during this pandemic for the deaths and the loss of life. That's the lawsuit I'm on.
Listen, baby, ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough, baby.
If you need me, call me, no matter where you are, no matter how far.
Don't worry, baby,
just call my name, I'll be there in a hurry. You don't have to worry, 'cause baby, there ain't no mountain high enough.
to keep me from getting to you, baby.
idea what they're going to do with it?
With what?
Oh my God, my apologies. Oh. All right. You all have a pleasant evening, a pleasant day, a pleasant night. Remember to take care of your families. All links to description will be below, as well as referring people to towards the end of this video in terms of technology. Again, the surveillance of people was not new. And other nations have far paced the United States of America in terms of tracking their people whereabouts and violating their privacy. But you're in a communist country, you don't have no privacy, no right to privacy. I would admonish everyone to go in and disable the feature that allows your electronic device to track where you are geographically. Disable that manually, turn it off. So with that being said, okay, I'm getting a message from Windows, my security scam ran. With that being said, take care, everybody. Remember, seriously, if you can look up, you can get up. SARS-2, the Grim Reaper, AKA COVID-19, doesn't care about the protesters out there. It's been showing up, doing what it does best, attacking people. Wealthy people, they've been doing what they always do best, exploiting systems and not paying taxes. Also during this pandemic, lawsuit aspect. I didn't get there. I will get there though. During the week, I will get there. The good, the bad, and the ugly parts of this pandemic. Michigan, know this, we're not gonna do no bias here. Other people gonna show up packing, bearing arms. Then another side gonna show up packing, bearing arms too. We're gonna be just and fair. We're gonna be just and fair across the board. Now, with that being said, like I said, shelter in place. Take care of your families, your friends, love on them. Take care, everybody. Bye. Thanks for streaming.